What do you do when your company accidentally makes the most popular spicy ramen on the planet? You make 15 more flavors because capitalism. Today I'm going to be eating all of these, including the ones that Samyang thinks that Americans won't like, which is like half of them. Now listen, if there's one thing you don't do to Americans is you don't tell us what we do and don't like. We deep fry Twinkies while drinking ranch, we think sriracha is a vegetable. Our flavor palette is what you would call complex. So I'm gonna take it upon myself to taste test all 16 of these flavors and determine which ones should be in the store shelves in the US. What makes you think you know what we do and don't want? Listen, I grew up eating American and Asian food on the exact same plate, my tongue is nearly trilingual, and I'm an INFJ, which means I will overanalyze everything for no good reason and be able to argue both sides out of principle. Now stop wasting everyone's time, let's get Operation Buldak underway. So let's start off with the original Buldak flavor, which is just the artificial chicken flavor. This will be our base. Last time I tasted this, I gave it a rating of 7 out of 10 for spice. It's definitely still there, probably more spicy than the average American would like, but if you love spice, this is a good starting point. Next up, we're trying the rosé. I have no idea what it is. You can definitely smell like some sort of sausage smell coming from it. So this one's not as spicy as the original one. The noodle has like a creamy consistency in terms of this overall sauce. The sausage flavoring in here tastes essentially like a hot dog, and because the spice level is so low, it's just not really gonna be a flavor that I think is gonna do so well here in America, especially because the spice is not even the right kind of spice. You generally want something a little bit more on the vinegary, soury side that's going to balance away the sweetness and the saltiness of a hot dog. All right, so we got the yakisoba one, and the first thing you'll notice is that the noodles are significantly thinner than all the other Buldak noodles. There's a really good smell coming off of this. This is a very interesting flavor because it starts off sweet and then it slowly morphs into the spicy Buldak chili flavor. It's not as hot as the original. Flavor-wise, it's really good. I'm surprised that this one is in the American market, but I would say that this one can definitely stay. So this is the 2 times spice version. So we're gonna find out just how much more spicy this actually is. All right, this spice is a little bit different because it doesn't hit you right away. And when you take your second bite, then it finally starts to cook. I can start to feel like I'm actually sweating a little bit through the pores right here. There are a lot of spice lovers here in the United States, so this X2 flavor is more than welcome. All right, so this is the regular carbonara, and it does still have the powder, so I'm kind of curious how this is gonna differ from the creamy carbonara. As far as the taste goes, it's basically just savory. I would say the only difference probably is just that lack of that cheesy aftertaste. Spice-wise, it's there, I can taste the spice, but it's not gonna make me sweat or anything. Flavor-wise, it is a very savory noodle, so I think most Americans will probably enjoy this flavor. All right, so this is the cheese flavor, and if there's one thing Americans love is their cheese and noodles. So essentially, I think this is just gonna be a spicy macaroni and cheese. It's very pleasant, very mild in terms of its cheesy flavor, and then the spice just kind of floats in there very, very subtly towards the end, since the cheese will essentially cancel it out. I can see why Samyang decided to have this flavor in the US. This is the Quattro cheese, which should be cheesier than the last one. Definitely more cheese flavor, it's creamier. It also doesn't have that much of a spice, so about a 2.5. I would say, honestly, just keep the Quattro cheese in the US. We don't need the regular cheese version. All right, we have Habanero lime. I've had this before in my last video, and it had a nice, refreshing citrus flavor. So with this one, the lime kind of thins out the spice a little bit, but very tasty. Considering that when Tostitos introduced their hint of lime chips here in the US and everyone pretty much went berserk, this flavor, very welcomed in the US. Moving on to the cream carbonara, this is by far my favorite flavor that's available in America. It's not too spicy, it's got a great umami flavor followed by all the creaminess. Definitely still my favorite casual flavor, heat level of approximately 3. The sad part is that most stores like Walmart and Target do not carry this one. They just carry the regular carbonara, but I definitely would say this is the superior version. All right, we're now on to the flavors that are not available in America. To start off, we're gonna go with curry. You can definitely smell that curry flavor. Right off the bat, this tastes like curry noodles for sure. The thing is, there's really no spice in there at all that I can detect, but in terms of flavor, the curry is 100% there. As far as I know, there are Indian restaurants in America and it's always pretty full, so I would say this flavor definitely deserves to be in America. This is the Tom Yum flavor, which is a Thai soup. This is one of our first soup versions where I'm gonna be trying out. So the broth has that lemony ginger flavor. It's not very spicy. So I'm not really detecting any sort of spice at all. Like, it's there, but it's not gonna burn your tongue. The flavor combination is a true classic and I feel will do way better than chicken noodle soup when you're sick. Moving right along, we have the tomato pasta flavor. Flavor-wise, it's giving off that marinara vibe. You taste the tomatoes as well as the herbs. The heat creeps in a little bit later. The only thing I would say if I really wanted to be super picky is that using this ramen style noodle I think doesn't quite do it justice. Probably would rather have just regular pasta. Next up we have the stew type version, which if I had to guess is probably just the original, but soup. So one thing I'm immediately noticing is that the soup is thick. It's got more viscosity to it. So it does not taste like the original. It's got a completely different flavor profile. It's also not that spicy compared to the original flavor. I'm not sure what it is, but it almost feels like there's some sort of like bony broth flavor. So this is a very solid soup noodle. While I like it, I don't necessarily think the American market will be clamoring over this specific flavor. This is the corn flavor. The moment I opened up the packet, I immediately smelled some sort of corn. It smells like roasted corn. There's some sweetness to it. I really have no idea how the heat is gonna play into this. So you're gonna taste the heat first, and it's basically just that Buldak spice flavor. The corn flavor starts to seep in afterwards. The whole corn flavor combination in here tastes artificial. It actually reminds me of the taste from the cereal Corn Pops. I'm not sure what kind of demographic they're going for because the whole corn followed by the spice level doesn't seem to match and mix very well. But even then, Buldak's spice mix is the wrong peppers. You'll want to use Mexican chili peppers instead. So Samyang, the company that makes the Buldak noodles, is a Korean company. And if there's one thing you know about Korea is they love kimchi. And the flakes packet have little pieces of kimchi in it. So I'm not getting a lot of heat from this. You do taste that fermentedness coming from the kimchi. I'm not entirely sure how well this would do in the American market just because we don't generally eat a lot of fermented anything except for beer. I would say I'm on the fence in terms of if I would want this to be available in the US all the time. I know I personally would, but I don't think the general population would be going for this specific flavor. This is the JjaJang flavor, or I guess people would just probably call it JjaJang. I've had this before growing up in terms of its flavor, and it is really, really good, super savory, as well as a little bit of sweetness. So in this one, I can't taste any sort of spice in terms of it will be stinging you. The flavor is a really nice, robust flavor. The best thing I can compare this to as far as like an American dish is if you have gravy with your mashed potatoes. It just has that umami flavor. While the flavor palette might not be something we can really ache into here in the US, I do think that most Americans would enjoy this flavor. With 16 Buldak flavors down, these are the ones that should be on the American shelves. Right off the bat, we're gonna kick out the cheese and the carbonara since we already have the Quattro cheese and cream carbonara, which in my opinion, even though the flavors are similar, it's way better. And we're gonna kick out the rosé because honestly, if you want something that tastes similar, just take some hot dogs, boil it up in some water, take that water and then cook your original Buldak flavor, cut up the hot dogs, throw it in there, and you will essentially get exactly the same thing, but it will be spicier. For the flavors that we don't have in America, we are gonna bring in the JjaJang, curry, and Tom Yum. While these are not the spiciest of the bunch, the flavors are gonna do very well here in America. There are 2 Buldak foreign flavors that actually will do well here in America. However, there's a little caveat to it, and that's specifically for the kimchi and the stew type. If these flavors were paired with either pork belly, pork ribs, any sort of pork product, the flavor of the meat will not only complement, but it will actually elevate the entire experience of that meal, essentially turning these Buldak flavors into proper dishes. If you are interested in learning how I prepare these pork ribs to go with my Buldak noodles, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I would be more than happy to make a video teaching you how. The two flavors that are a hard no for America is going to be the corn and the tomato pasta. The corn is just all wrong. I know America likes their sweet in just about everything, but even then, the flavor profile is just not right. They need to go back to the drawing board on that one. And as far as the tomato pasta, if you like just traditionally spaghetti with sauce, you're better served just to go buy a jar of marinara, get some spaghetti. It's gonna taste pretty much exactly the same, and it's gonna be much cheaper. So if you're a ramen lover and you want to see the rankings for all the ramens I've tasted, whether it's spice level, flavor level, all of that is going to be linked down below in my ultimate spreadsheet. And if you want to try any of them, there are affiliate links off to the left, which will show you the best current prices available. Go enjoy some ramen, and I'll see you in the next video.